Hi, my name is Craig Hendricks, staying here at the Philadelphia Ronald McDonald House because my son Lucas is in the hospital. And, as a parent, it's challenging, and it's hard spending hours in the hospital every day, and there's a lot to worry about. We have amazing chefs here at the Ronald McDonald House. The food is amazing. I'm able to come home from the hospital and there's a delicious meal here waiting for me. And when I have so many things to worry about, not having to worry about that is amazing. And not only is the food amazing, but the people here are amazing. And it's really donations and charity and kindness from amazing people that make this happen. So we really appreciate it here. I know I really appreciate all the families here, really appreciate it. And we just want to say thank you to all the people that have donated, and thank you to all the people that are going to donate, because it really makes a big difference for all of us.
Hi, and welcome to Served with Love. I'm your host, Jared Johnson. Today's episode is brought to us by Tina and Brian Phillips of Famous 4th Street Cookies. Thank you so much for sponsoring today's episode, Tina and Brian. Today's episode is on pesto. So pesto was originated back in the 16th century in the Genoa section of Italy. And it comes from the word, or the Genovese word, pesta, which is to crush. And what it is, we're gonna make a condiment here with the crushed basil and emulsify it with olive oil. And we're gonna add some other flavorings into it: Parmesan cheese, garlic, and pine nuts. But pesto is really versatile, and you can do it lots of different ways. We're gonna make it very traditional today, but you could try like doing half basil and half spinach, and then it'll make a really vibrant green pesto, but won't have as much of the aromatic basil punch. You could try it with other greens like watercress or parsley or arugula. You could try it with other nuts like walnuts or cashews or sunflower seeds. It's kind of like hummus. It's really, we're gonna start with a basic recipe here, but it's up to you to be as creative as you like. If you wanna make it spicy, add some crushed red pepper. It's really how you wanna do it that you can make it work for you. Pesto is really great when you can make it in abundance and then store it or freeze it for you to be able to use later. That basil's so good in the summertime, but wouldn't it be great in October if you can pull it out of the freezer and you have really great fresh pesto again? If you're going to freeze it, I would recommend not doing the cheese for this part that we're gonna do here today. And when you're pulling out of the freezer and you're ready to use it, that's when you blend the cheese back into it. So we have our blender set up here. We have about 4 bunches of basil leaves and some of the tender stems inside of the blender. And to this, we're going to add some grated Parmesan cheese. We're going to add about 6 cloves of garlic. And we have some pine nuts here. These pine nuts have already been toasted. You want to make sure that whatever nut you use or seed, that it already has a roast on it, and that's how you're going to get the best blend and get the best results. Because we're making this quantity of pesto, we're going to do it in a blender, but this is also something that you can do in a mortar and pestle and just crush it up. The blender is going to give you a finer consistency. Food processor is going to give you a little less fine consistency, and then if you did it by hand, you would have the most coarse consistency. So we have everything in our blender. I'm just going to close the blender up now. I like to get it started without seasoning it. So we're going to get the blender started. So I've blended these ingredients just a tiny bit here, and now's a great time to season. So we're going to put some salt and pepper in. And then we're going to turn the blender back on and slowly emulsify with our olive oil. Okay, so when you get it back to this point, it's just about blended. We'll give it a taste. Remember, you can make this as fine or as chunky as you like. Wow, so good. We're going to blend this just a little tiny bit more. And I'm going to add just a little bit of water also. It's just a touch thick. And that's good. Pesto's ready. So the first dish we're going to do today is pan-seared scallops. So we're starting out with our scallops here while our pan's getting hot. Take a little salt, a little pepper, add some olive oil to our pan, nice and hot. Beautiful. We're just going to put these on the seasoned side down. All right, so we're going to let those go for about a minute. They're going to cook for about a minute on each side. I'm going to wash my hands quickly and get the rest of the dish set up. I'm going to take some of our pesto here. You see that the oil starts to separate from the pesto. That's okay. It's natural. Just when you're ready to use it, just stir it back in. I'm going to take a little pesto and put it in our dish because we're going to brush this right on the scallops when they come out. And we have a lemon here. We're going to take just a little zest of lemon, and that's going to be a garnish and a flavor enhancer for our dish. I have some nice zest there inside our microplane. We're just going to knock that out onto the plate. And that's set aside for us. So the scallops are going to let you know when they're ready to flip inside the pan. You don't want to mess with them too much until they're ready to flip. And when they're ready to flip, they're not going to be stuck at all. So then you can turn them over. You see that great sear, beautiful golden brown color. Beautiful. So those are going to go for about a minute on the other side, and we'll be ready to plate it up. All right, so our scallops are just about ready. They've been in the pan for about 2 minutes. This is how I like to plate this up. Take them out of the pan. And then we take our pesto that we separated. You want to make sure that you're using just enough for your scallops, but not taking from your main dish of pesto because you don't want to contaminate the pesto from your main dish by touching the scallops. So we're just going to take a little pesto while they're nice and hot and just brush it on the top. And then I take just a little bit of the lemon zest, just a little sprinkle on the top. So there's the dish, pan-seared scallops with pesto and a little fresh lemon zest. All right, so the next dish we're going to make today is a classic sandwich. We're going to make a Caprese Panini. So we have some good sourdough bread, and we're going to build this sandwich with sliced tomatoes, some fresh mozzarella, some pesto, and a little bit of a balsamic drizzle. And then we're going to make a press in our pan and make it like a toasted sandwich. So it's melty and all that goodness is going to get all the way through there. So this is the way we do it. Take our bread. Take a little bit of our pesto. We just brush it right onto the bread. Bread is beautiful. It was donated to us by Metropolitan Bakery. A little bit of pesto on both sides. Now we're going to take our cheese. This is a little bit of buffalo mozzarella. Then we're going to take some tomatoes, sliced tomato, say about 3 per sandwich. These tomatoes were donated to us by Giordano's Garden Groceries. A little bit of salt on the tomatoes. A little bit of black pepper. Now we're going to take a slice of prosciutto. This prosciutto was donated to us by the Steinberg Center over at the University of Pennsylvania. Last, we're going to come back with a little bit more mozzarella for the top. Before I close the sandwich, I like to take just a little drizzle of reduced balsamic. Oh, these are going to be so good. All right, so we put the lid back on. We have our pan getting hot here. We're just going to take a little butter, put that in the pan, swirl that all around. Now, I'm sure plenty of you are like, how is he going to make a panini in this fry pan? So, I'm sure you guys have been to different places where they have panini presses. We're going to make our own panini press here. So we set the sandwich right into the butter in the hot skillet. Then we take another skillet and set it right over the top. And in here I have just a regular old brick. Anybody has a brick in their garage or hanging out at their house, I'm going to make sure you wash it up really good, cover it with aluminum foil, and then this brick goes in the top pan, and that acts as your press. And that's going to press the sandwich down. Everything's going to melt through. The outside's going to be crusted and toasty, and then we're going to have melty, pesto-y, good happiness on the inside. All right, the sandwiches have been going for a little more than a minute now. We're going to check and see how they are on the bottom side and then flip them over. Oh, beautiful. Golden brown. Look at that. Cheese is starting to melt. Sometimes the pesto, depending on the kind of bread you're using, might come through the bread and want to stick on the bottom a little bit. It's okay. Just make sure you use a good thin spatula that you can get under there to get a good flip. And that cheese actually helps because it'll kind of sear on the bottom and help hold everything in. So now we've flipped our sandwiches over and we're just going to put our press right back on the top and let it go the other way. All right, so these sandwiches are just about ready. I'm going to take the top off now and plate these up. Turn them off the heat. Nice and crispy. Cheese is nice and melty. Look at that. Oh, man. So nothing fancy about this, guys. Just a simple cut. You can see the colors, the white and the green and the red. Just a heartwarming sandwich. Makes everybody happy. So there it is. Caprese Panini. Fresh mozzarella, fresh pesto, prosciutto, sourdough bread. So that's today's episode on pesto. I hope you guys take some of what you've learned today and try to make this at home. There's really no duplicate for making pesto with fresh basil at home instead of trying to buy a store-bought pesto. There are some really good pestos out there, but if you make it once at home and you see how easy it is and all the different applications you can use it for, you'll never want to buy store-bought pesto again. So I just want to say thanks again to Brian and Tina Phillips for sponsoring today's episode. They've been tremendous the whole time. Famous 4th Street Cookies has provided cookies for our families, not just to have as part of our dinner service, but also just as a nice treat once a month. They drop off cookies for the families that they can kind of take and go as they please. And they've also done food from Copa Banana, their restaurant, where they've come in on occasions where we haven't had a team for that night and prepared dinner for the family. So I just want to say thanks again to them. I'd also like to thank our additional sponsors for today, Riggs Distler and Forte Consulting and Investigations. Thank you so much for helping out with today's episode. Stay tuned next week where we'll be featuring more good stuff on Served with Love. If you'd like to sponsor an episode or donate to our food services program, please visit www.philarmh.org/chefjared. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. This episode of Served with Love was sponsored by Brian and Tina Phillips of Copa Banana and Famous 4th Street Cookies. Additional sponsors were Riggs Distler and Forte Consulting and Investigative Services. We'd also like to thank Metropolitan Bakery for providing fresh artisan breads, Giordano's Garden Groceries for providing nutritious vegetables, University of Pennsylvania Steinberg Center for donating delicious imported prosciutto. For ingredients, recipes, and information on how you can support our food services program, please visit us on the web at www.philarmh.org/Chef Jared. You can also contact me with any questions by email at chefjared@philarmh.org. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tina Phillips. I'm the owner of the famous 4th Street Cookie Company and the Copa Banana University City Restaurant, along with my husband, Brian Phillips. We are here today to talk about the great programs of the Ronald McDonald House that we continue to support year after year. It is such an incredible organization that really understands how to support the families that are in such dire need for assistance. We hope that you continue to support the Ronald McDonald House along with us. We're so proud to be a part of this program with Chef Jared, and we hope that you continue to learn, love, and give. Thank you very much.